Welcome back to another episode of the Angry Turtle Podcast. Yes.
Back at it again.
Yes. As always, we got old Johnny boy with us. Old Johnny.
Oh, Johnny
yay.
boy.
We got
Johnny boy.
Lauren with us. Old Lauren boy with us. And we got old Dusty boy. You know?
Good old Dusty.
And we're just here, you know, old Dusty, you know what I mean? We're just out here having that person almost.
That
bust
guy,
in the
he
face.
almost tripped.
Yeah.
We seen you. We seen you almost trip. It sucks when somebody sees you almost trip, right?
happens
You
to
can't
them.
walk it off. Yeah, he even looked around.
Oh, man.
It's okay.
Man,
You're
so
loved.
Yeah, we're gonna stare at him for a little bit longer because we want to make him feel awkward. Hey, over there, over there. Did you turn the speaker off, Wyatt? I need a speaker check, please.
You want it on or off?
On. I'm trying to talk
It's
to the
on.
guy. Hello.
hello.
He's walking it off. Yeah, we're back. It's
Yeah.
yeah.
Back at it
We're
again.
here watching for stubbed toes and shit.
Yeah,
That's so embarrassing.
yeah,
man.
that was bad.
This is great, you know.
I-
Also, you know, thanks for watching again. You know, we're back here doing our thing. It's a good old Just Us week. We're
Woo!
having a lot of fun.
Woo!
Yeah. Woo!
See, the
I'm ready.
last time I fell and I thought no one was watching, someone had their phone out.
Yeah, they're going.
I'm somewhere out there on someone's TikTok. Like, look at this stupid.
World star.
My friend did
stupid
that. We
girl.
were in California and we were riding on the Uber scooters, and they go like 25 miles an hour, and they're like the sit down like little they look like motorcycles down there.
Oh, those are cool.
And we were going down Hollywood Boulevard, and there's this guy on the sidewalk. And so like there's like the sidewalk, and then like a patch of dirt, and then the street. Well, my buddy, he went around this dude. He slowed down, got on the dirt, and the sidewalk's downhill. He took off on this dirt patch. He just goosed it on the dirt. And then it's going downhill fast as fuck. And you know, like when like the pavement's uneven, and it's like you see
Like
the storm.
cracks in it
Yeah,
or
it's like the
something,
storm drain, and it's like they were doing construction on it. He saw that. He started like, oh, and then he flipped over the handlebars, and he was just like, ooh, scorpioned. And there was a guy behind us on the phone. He was like, that's the best thing I've seen all day. I was like, oh
See,
man.
Ending lives out here.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
You guys ever scorpioned?
I have me and my best friend when we were growing up hopped over a hill on a moped, and it's the highest I've ever been on a vehicle. We were trying to, I don't know why we did it, but we literally took flight, and I at that time I thought I was gonna die, but we landed, and it was fucking thrilling.
It's fucking through.
Yeah.
And that's where it all began.
You remember,
I'm in.
Thomas?
I'm in.
Yeah, we fucking launched.
Dude, I used to get on my skateboard and then hold on to the back of cars as we're taking off down the road. And you start going too fast, you start to get the wobble wheel. So I'm like,
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
I
Yeah.
could never get the hang of skateboards.
Same.
I couldn't do
used
any
to
tricks.
wear skateboard stuff though.
oh yeah?
I used to wear Vans all the time. I was a poser.
Oh,
Someone called
big
a
poser. Big poser.
You're like Bobby Lee. He used to own a skate shop but never skated.
Yeah, man. I had slip-on Vans, checkerboard Vans, all types of Vans.
You,
Vans are the shit.
yeah, you were top-notch poser.
Oh yeah.
So what have you guys been doing? What have you guys been
Shit.
up to? Any mics? Anything like that?
Shit, I know Lauren just had a fucking, or is going to have a show.
Yes, I have a show today thanks to Darren Finesilver. And it'll be at
Ooh.
Fountain Square today at 8 p.m.
Who's headlining that? I think he's out of Chicago, right?
Yeah, it's out of Chicago. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so
what's-
that'll be
you-
interesting.
You remember the headliner's name? Uh-oh, I'm calling her out. Look, everybody's staring at Lauren now. Yeah, I seen the flyer, though.
Yeah, the fires.
And
This is terrible. Okay,
Yeah,
there we
let's
go. Mike Stricker, Paul P., Duncan Kissinger, who I actually saw Indy's Funniest.
Duncan is fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he's amazing.
hilarious. And Roberto Garcia. I will be with them
Yeah, I like Roberto, too. Yeah, we seen him at...
today, which means when this comes out, it's already over.
Yes. Well, so Lauren had a show.
Yeah. But yes, Mike Stricker is from Chicago.
I don't think I've seen him yet, but
I have not.
I think I'm gonna go to the Corky Romano show. Or not Corky. What's the guy's name?
Shit, I don't.
Yeah,
Let's go with Corky.
yeah. Corky Romano. I'm going to.
Hey,
It's in Plainfield. I know that.
Oh, nice. And then tomorrow I'm going to the Indies Funniest Final competition with the.
Who's in there, David?
It's David Brooks, Daryl Hollenquist, and
Devin
Glass.
Devin Glass.
So
That
shout
is-
out to them.
I figured David would get through.
Let's go.
Yeah, that's
Yes,
a hell of
fans of the podcast.
Yeah.
David has been on the podcast. Well, I can't say fans of the podcast, but friends. David is a friend of the podcast.
Yeah, he's definitely a very good friend of the podcast.
Very good friend.
Yeah, I love David.
Yeah.
I think he's very funny.
Yes,
he's very funny.
he's
You got to
very
say
funny.
that right out the
He's
gate.
very
I know,
funny.
he told us
David
that,
is,
right?
yeah. You got to
Yeah.
say that shit.
He's not a good person.
Yeah,
he's very funny.
He's a horrible person. He's super funny.
No, he's a great person and he's hilarious and he needs his roses. Unlike Hitler.
Yeah. Call back.
Roses too.
That's a callback. That's a far callback. Good memory.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember much, but I definitely remember giving Hitler his roses.
That was 2 weeks ago.
Scarred for life.
That was good. That was so fun.
Yeah, it's hard to pick out of those three. They're all amazing comics.
Yeah.
And
Hard one.
I'm not gonna pick. I'm just gonna sit back and watch and see. I wish them all the best.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I knew David would get through for sure. I was like, I can't figure. Yeah.
Well, Tyson must be heartbroken. What happened? What happened to Tyson?
Oh, also a friend of the podcast. Tyson
Yes.
had his
Hell yeah.
his album release on July 29th.
Yeah, I was there. It was a great show. And
Shout out to Tyson.
I saw him at that new mic across from Behringer's. I think it was like what?
Whiskey and Rhythm.
Whiskey
No.
Rhythm. No. I'm going with Risky Whiskey.
I'm going
Risky Business.
Whiskey
Business.
Go Go.
Whiskey Go Go.
Whiskey Business is actually a bar.
Yeah, I think he's in the Brick Room now, or he's performing in the Brick Room tonight.
Oh, cool.
I think that's a new club in Noblesville.
Tyson is?
Oh yeah, I think I saw
Yeah,
him.
I think
nice.
him and Devin Glass are, and then Devin's gonna be with Corky Romano
How cool of
tomorrow.
a fucking last name is that though? How cool of a last name is that? Just like Glass. Oh, that's sick.
That is, unless you live in a county that has a lot of meth like addicts. You know?
Okay.
You're just a drug dealer.
I am an idiot. Okay, so there's actually more people.
Wait up, Lauren. You forgot a whole.
There's like 40 people.
40
that-
people.
Oh, no, there's
Oh,
9
no,
people.
Lauren. No,
Okay, yeah,
no.
let me. Okay, so Helium's Funniest Finals is tomorrow, August 14th. Shout out to all these people: Daryl Hollenquist, Jake Russell Smith, David Brooks, Benedict
Benedict Polizzi.
Polizzi.
I'm assuming that's right.
Oh
right?
hell, we
Tyson
forgot Ben.
Cox.
Benedict Polizzi.
Yes, I just didn't want to mess up
Is
his last name.
it easier to say Ben or Benedict?
Benedict.
Benedict.
Tyson Cox, Sarah
Very
Huntington,
noble. Very
Bradley
noble name
Lister,
there.
Devin Glass, and Patrick
How
Murray.
the fuck did you forget Benedict?
Oh, so
I bet he got made fun of in
the-
school, like Benedict. Like,
well, I mean, Tyson's last name is Cox, so he had to.
dude, my cousin last name.
He
My,
was raised in the country though, so that would have been all right. Yeah.
it didn't matter?
Yeah, I don't know.
my cousin's last name is Cox, and he used to work at Dick's Sporting Goods. So you answer the phone, you go, "Hello, this is Randy Cox. This is Dick's Sporting Goods. How can I help you?"
You send him the link again, Wyatt, or he said he's ready.
And it is Whiskey and Rhythm, so I think I said
There's the letter C.
You ready for him?
Yeah, if you're ready.
I think I'm ready.
I'm not.
I think
I'm not.
I'm not.
Are we ever ready?
Yeah.
Are we?
Can we cut that part out where I said it's a single week?
Are we ever ready?
It isn't a
Do
single
I
week.
ever know what's going on? How many licks does it take to get to the center of a Tootsie Pop?
375.
Hey, how
Is
many
that
licks?
I think you said 5. 4.
Man,
4. 3. Oh, man.
God, she's OG. She's like, I got
She's
to it in
like,
3.
Whole strong jaw.
Yeah, it took me 26 last time.
She's like a turkey when she
The
does it.
muscle bound jaw.
How she did it, Lauren?
You're so good at that. You should really.
God.
I don't know what you should do with that, but you should figure something out because you're so good at that.
Your gobble is on point, bro.
No, it's like anything on the spot. Like if you say like dog, you're just like,
What's up outside? All right, we'll watch our language just for 2 minutes. 2 minutes, guys, everybody. We're not
oh man, you're cool, man.
I'm not doing
He's got the
nothing.
Sunglasses.
Yeah.
But you've
Oh,
got to
yeah.
be hot though.
No, he's not.
got a jacket
He's
on.
chilling.
Oh man.
Oh my God! What did you stumble upon? Uh-oh. Okay, are we?
Yes.
We need to do any audio checks? Are we just ready to roll? Oh goodness,
Johnny C.
Hello.
Now we can.
Okay, I guess we're here with our special guest, Dale Cook.
Woo!
Yeah.
Morning.
Morning. Thanks for joining us,
Morning.
man. Appreciate you coming
Yeah,
on.
I had little technical difficulties, but I'm alive and well.
Yeah, we were actually worried that you. No, I'm not gonna say it. That you.
Hopefully you didn't pass on.
He was so nervous about coming on the show. He just died away.
Ah, crap.
I've watched your show a little bit, so I am nervous.
Yeah, that's good. Good reason. Good.
Yeah, I'm hungover, so I'll take it easy on you today. So,
All right.
it is great to have you
Yeah,
on
man.
the show. I'm a big fan personally. I grew up too young. I know these young bucks.
You actually retired when I was born. From my research, so
I feel older every second now. Thank you.
yeah, I guess that came off kind of wrong.
Way to
but
immortalize
it
it.
was really cool to learn because I don't know. We'll go through it, but it was nice to see you fighting. I saw videos. Your kick is freaking awesome. So yeah, that was cool.
Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to have you on. Like I trained about 2 years of kickboxing, so I was like nothing serious, but like it's cool seeing. I was like, man, them kicks are wild.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
Well,
It's like,
I had 125 prize fights in it over a career that lasted from 1977 until 94.
Woo.
And when I retired from fighting, I continued to promote fights. So my company, Extreme Fight Night, is now up to 382 fights. Is our next event here in 2 weeks, August 26th. So I don't know. I think we're I think the longest running fight promotion in the country.
Oh, good.
uninterrupted.
We're gonna say it either way. Yeah, either way.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So what got you into the arts? I guess.
Well, as a kid,
arts of martial.
Yeah, as a kid, we were in a little bit of a rough neighborhood, and I was getting picked on, and I was having fights every day. And I saw a Bruce Lee movie, and I begged my mom, take me to martial arts. And it took a while to get her on board, but she finally took me into a Taekwondo school, D.W. Kong's Taekwondo in Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa.
And I was blessed to be in a really good school to start with, martial arts school. And honestly, from that day forward, I never looked back. I never considered anything else. I knew martial arts was going to be my life. And I trained, made my black belt, and I was competing in the back then was the tournament circuit. It was kind of like the Karate Kid thing that you see,
Yeah.
That's all there was. And I became really good at that. And then I saw this sport called kickboxing. It was brand new to the United States. It was actually called PKA karate.
I didn't know that.
And when I saw that, I thought, you know what? I've been doing boxing and I've been a black belt in Taekwondo. I bet if I put those two things together, I'd be a pretty good kickboxer. And I turned out I was right. And so I started promoting and fighting. And the deal was in Tulsa, Oklahoma in 1977, there were no kickboxing gyms. There were no kickboxing. Nobody even knew what that was. So I had a choice. Either I leave Tulsa, my hometown, where I love and where my family is, and go to one of the coasts to find where this new sport of kickboxing is happening, or I start making it happen here. And I
That's
became
awesome.
a promoter the same night I became a fighter, because that was the only option that I had.
Yeah.
So in 1977, March 11th, 2,500 curious fight fans came to the Tulsa Convention Center to see what the heck kickboxing was. And that was the first fight I ever promoted and the first fight I was ever in. And I was up in the stands selling programs 5 minutes before I was announced to come into the ring and fight. So my career as a promoter, we're now 45 years into that. But I was pretty good fighter. I mean, what can I say? It's nice to be in some ways, it's nice to be your own main event, right? If you don't make any money, well, you don't get to pay yourself. But, that was the rough part, right? But sometimes you have to invest in yourself, and you have to invest in something for years before you get a payoff. And that was the key. I mean, I was broke all the time because this is what I was trying to do for a living. I was always broke. And somewhere along the way, PKA karate became a big hit on ESPN. And I started fighting on ESPN. And I was a lot better fighter when I was free to just focus on the fighting and not have to promote and sell and take care of sponsors and sell programs up in the stand before I fight. So I became the PKA champion and was fighting on ESPN now, and I'm starting to get a following that's more than just Tulsa, Oklahoma. And I got lucky enough that I got an opportunity to go to Japan and fight. And Japan was fighting under the Muay Thai rules of kickboxing from Thailand, which is a lot different than what those PKA karate rules were. And Americans were going over there and just getting crushed. And I got an opportunity to go, and I fought in this 18,000 seat arena called the Budokan. And I fought a guy from Thailand, and I surprised everybody. And my boxing overcame his leg kicks and knees and elbows that I wasn't used to. And my boxing paid off, and I beat the guy, and I became kind of a hero, if you will, in Japan.
Wow.
And then all along this way, God is in my life and opening doors. And as crazy as this sounds, on my third fight in Japan, it was rare for an American to win there. So I was starting to get a following in Japan. A guy came up to me after one of my fights and said, "How would you like to star in a movie?" And I said, "I don't know anything about acting. I don't know anything about the movie business." He says, "Well, great. You're going to be the star in this movie in the Philippines next week. So change your flight plans from flying home after your fight in Japan and fly to the Philippines to make this movie." So I said, I won 5 world championships as a kickboxer, but that's not my greatest claim to fame. My greatest claim to fame is I starred in 10 of the worst martial arts.
Man, I wasn't going to say it. I wasn't going to say it.
No.
I was going to give. So when you were in Japan, did they make you do like blood sport rules? Did you have to break a brick before you get in there? Like brick no fight back, or no. Was it more was it more physical in Japan than it was in the United States, or was it
the biggest thing about
just a change into Muay Thai?
Biggest difference about the kickboxing in Japan at that point in time is Tokyo was the king of martial arts sports. They paid the most money. I mean, they were drawing crowds of 18,000. I fought at the Tokyo Dome in front of 60,000 fans, whereas back in the States, it was 1,000 people, 500 people, So it was a major league sport in Japan, where it was a sport that people were just starting to hear about through ESPN. I mean, ESPN wasn't a very big deal back in the early 80s either, but it was the fact that it was a major league sport, and they treated the athletes like superstars. I mean, they would pick us up in limos. We'd stay at the best hotels, and the Japanese fans, they love Americans anyway, but they really loved the idea of an American that could come play under their rules and win. The guy who opened that door and did that first was a fighter by the name of Benny the Jet Urquidez from Tarzana, California. And he was one of my heroes. And other fighters that went on to become stars in Japan during that era were Maurice Smith, who was the heavyweight kickboxing champion, who went on to win the UFC heavyweight title and is now on our UFC Hall of Fame. Nice. And actually, he's the guy who co-starred in that very first movie with me. So we kind of traveled that same path along the way. But anyway, I jest about the movies. They were fun. I starred in American Kickboxer 2, Raw Target, Triple Impact, Double Blast, Blood Ring 2.
Those are some
What-
titles.
yeah.
All
Which
these movies were made in the Philippines for about $200,000. So,
Oh, nice. Freaking nice.
which one was
but
your?
they were a
your
lot of fun, and I, it was hard work because when you're the star of a movie that's being made in 6 weeks, you work 12 hours a day every day. But I won almost every fight in those movies. I never missed a shot, and I always got the girl. So it was a blast.
Oh, nice.
Which one was your favorite to do out of all of them? Did you have one that the cast, everybody there was just awesome, and you had fun, and it was a really good time? Or are they all just?
I starred in this movie called Double Blast, and my co-star was Linda Blair. And if you remember Linda Blair, she was the little girl who starred in that horror movie, The Exorcist.
Oh hell!
And when she grew up,
I try to forget that movie.
I always try to.
Anyway, she came. So you would think Apollo versus The Exorcist. We got a horror film here, but in reality, it was the only movie I was in that got a PG rating. And the funny part of the story is, the night before I have this kissing scene with Linda Blair, I went to the producer from Hong Kong, and I'm like, I can't do this. I was a kid when I watched that movie, and I see that green stuff she's throwing up, and every time I look at her, she's the sweetest person. There's no way I'm kissing her. I see her throwing that green stuff up. So they changed the plot of our relationship to strictly platonic, and that's the reason it got a PG rating, and that's why the guy from Hong Kong made millions of dollars on that movie, because Disney bought it and released it on VHS in America, and they made a lot of money.
Nice.
And the guy from Hong Kong who produced that film got his first PG rated movie, and he made a lot of bucks, and that's why I starred in his next 10 pictures.
Nice. Very nice.
That's awesome.
Where did you get
Crazy story.
how'd you get your nickname Apollo?
I was a black belt, and I was getting ready for my first kickboxing fight. And that movie came out. So that's how long ago this was. Rocky 1 came out. And I watched the movie, and the star character is obviously Rocky, and I identified with him a lot. But I also identified with the Apollo Creed character, because he was his own manager, he was his own trainer, he was his own promoter. And that's exactly the hats I was wearing in my first fight. So I kind of stole that Apollo look from him.
Yeah.
And I guess it worked.
Yeah. So I know you have a black belt, but I saw that you have like a 7th degree black belt. So could you?
You took it too far, Dale. You took it too far.
What is?
That's
could
what
you
happens
walk?
when you do the same thing for 45 years. You get some kind of recognition, I guess.
Yeah.
When does it stop?
Well, yeah. I was
they're
like, can you explain what that means?
Yeah,
Like,
when-
I thought it was just black belt. Like,
Yeah, well, after black belt, you have an opportunity to promote and move up every 2 or 3 years.
wow.
And so anyway,
It's like the ultimate black belt.
most of the promotions after 5th degree black belt are kind of honorary. There's not much of a test to it.
A test.
But yeah, I was promoted to 7th degree black belt by my Japanese karate sensei, Naito sensei in Tokyo.
wow.
A little after, I think it was 2005. And I haven't promoted since then. It's not really something that's important to me, but I'm honored and I appreciate the fact that somebody felt that I deserved that recognition that long ago. It was a great thing. And
Well, you deserve it now
Japanese
too. You deserve
people
it
are
now
so
too.
nice.
Yeah.
They're very respectful and traditional, and they really, for some reason, they really like Americans.
Very cool.
So is that the
I
only
love going there.
country that you fought outside of the United States, or did you fight in the Philippines? Or
No. I fought in Mexico, Canada, all over the United States. I fought in England. I trained in Thailand, but never actually fought there. But biggest fights in my career were in Tokyo during that era.
So how would you prepare for a fight? Like, what was your routine? Like, did you listen to music or like you needed to be centered and quiet?
Sacrifice a
Music
goat.
was a big part. Just to bring that up, music was a big part of training and motivating and pushing yourself. And so I did a lot of running. Muhammad Ali was a hero of mine, so I tried to emulate everything he did, and he
cool.
would run. And he said that running was the most important conditioning for fighting. And if you look at his fighting style and the way he bounced around on his legs and his footwork, it honestly was. And I really, from the boxing side, I tried to model him. And my other hero was Bruce Lee, so I tried to model him on that side. And I really just, when you put good professional boxing together with a Taekwondo black belt, that's pretty good skill set for 1977. You got to remember the era we're talking about when I started. I mean, that was the era of the Kung Fu series, and you know, I don't want to knock traditional martial arts, but back in that era, people thought their style was the best, and you know, the Koreans thought Taekwondo was the best, and the Chinese thought Kung Fu was the best, and Americans thought boxing was the best, and it was Bruce Lee who said none of that's the best.
He said Wing Chun.
The best is to take the best from each of those things and put that stuff together and eliminate all the bullshit. And, you know, that's mixed martial arts, and that's what UFC is today.
That's what I like about fighting, too.
That's how far ahead Bruce Lee was of all of us.
So you think
he was talking that stuff in the 60s.
So he already had the concept down before there was even that's interesting, honestly, to think about that.
If you haven't seen it already, I'd like to put you onto something on YouTube. If you haven't watched Russian bare knuckle boxing,
I've seen some of this, and I have a fighter that's one of our champions, Rob Morrow, who just got back from Russia going and doing that stuff. And it's some pretty mindlessly brutal shit.
I guess you can only fight in denim. You're only allowed to fight in blue jeans.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
Me and Dustin signed up for the slap contest over there in Russia. Yeah, where they just slap the shit out of each other.
I'm
gonna probably be a rain day for me.
With tortillas?
No, they just slap each other.
Yeah, slap competition.
They just take 300-pound grown man and just slap the shit out of each other. Yeah, it's brutal.
I'm going to have to gain some weight.
So what was, like, I know it's brutal, but like, what was your most memorable, I guess, injury that you probably had to fight through, but, you know.
I had, so I figured out late in life, in my career as a fighter, that your two biggest paydays are your retirement fight and your comeback fight. So I had 3 of each. On my final comeback fight, I'm fighting this Marine kickboxing champion. And it's in my hometown. The place is packed. And I'm just drilling this guy. And I throw a spinning back fist. And sometimes the target doesn't stay where you think it is or where it was when you spin around, right? And he moved his head, and it caused instead of my hand to hit him, my arm hit him. I don't know if you can see that scar.
Oh,
It broke my arm completely in two. And I raised my arm up after I hit him, and it bent halfway through my forearm. And I'm seeing so I put my arm down real quick, and now I've got to figure out how to not let the referee or the doctors or anybody else know I've broken my arm completely in half. So luckily, the round ends, and I come back and I tell my corner, but I go, don't put ice on it, don't react, just don't do anything because I don't want them to stop this fight.
Oh my gosh.
So anyway, I have 2 more rounds to go, and I had to come up with creative ways of not only disguising my hanging arm there that's broken from the doctors and the referee, but also from my opponent.
Who the heck was the referee
of that
fight?
crazy stuff, like sticking my head out there for him to swing at and winding up the good arm and throwing. Anyway, I ended up.
I saw you do that once. I was like, damn, knock somebody out with that.
And I won the fight. And
so you won the fight. You won the fight after that.
$20,000, but I had to pay $25,000 to fix my arm after. So that was my most memorable injury, is breaking my arm in the second round of a 5-round fight.
How the heck did the ref not see your broken arm?
You just keep like dangling it down, like angling it away from. I
just left it hanging, right? So, and I was very busy, and thankfully for me, it was a kickboxing fight. So I was able to. I still had 3 weapons, and I just stayed busy with those 3. And by this time, he was so beat up anyway, he couldn't do anything about me having a broken arm.
So the wind-up hit, was that like your own like kind of like signature thing that you decided to do? Because I saw you did that, hit a dude with it twice, and he just slumped over. I was like, damn,
Yeah,
man.
I did the double wind up and slung it from my hip, and it landed right on his chin, and he fell past me. And I thought, yes, this fight's over, and that son of a bitch got up. So anyway, I saw Muhammad Ali do that against Leon Spinks. That's where it came from. So no, that wasn't a Apollo original, but
that was just a little wild though. I was like,
Yeah. So do you miss fighting, or do you enjoy promoting, or which one do you like better? I guess which one gives you more pleasure?
And coaching too.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I miss them. Everybody if you were the world's greatest piano player, and sometime you came along and for some reason you couldn't play the piano anymore, you would miss playing the piano. Mm-hmm. And when you're the world's greatest fighter, that's not something you can do in your 60s. You just can't whip out the piano and show everybody how great you were at piano playing. So yeah, I miss that challenge. I miss that. Hell, I miss showing off, but what I don't miss is getting up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't miss running 7 miles a day. I don't miss training 6 days a week. And I don't miss not being with my family and not being able to eat what I want to eat. So that stuff I don't miss at all. Obviously, I don't miss the promoting because I'm still able to do that. You mentioned the coaching, and I appreciate that because I used to love the coaching. I have a very successful martial arts school, but these days I teach the teachers, and I have a very good staff of instructors that run my martial arts academy for me.
Oh, very
cool. Yeah, we know a guy that's in the mixed martial arts. We got to plug him in. What is it?
Angelo.
Yeah, tell him his name.
Angelo Rolls, I think is how you say his last name. I don't know if his last name.
He's really good here.
Yeah, he just went pro, and he, me and him and I work together we do security at a comedy club, and him and I work together, and he's a hell of a fighter. Like he's just became pro, and
I wouldn't fuck with him or Dell at any given day. You know what I mean? I don't care how old Dell is. I'm sure you could whip a kick up. That's who's the guy that we're supposed to ask about? Do you know about Andrew Tate? Andrew Tate is the guy we're supposed to ask you about.
I'm just becoming familiar with Andrew Tate, and I looked at his Wikipedia like 60 million other people did. He's really trending heavy. And I didn't realize he had that many kickboxing fights. And I think, like most of those other 60 million people that went to his wiki page, it's because there's talk about him fighting one of the Paul brothers. Fake Paul? Is that the guy Fake Paul?
Well, yes.
I'm figuring out who that guy is, but it looks like he's a hell of a fighter. He's had a lot of fights as a kickboxer.
Well, if you want to make your fourth comeback fight.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Four out of retirement. Here we are. Dale cooking in the tape. Yeah. No.
I challenge him to a no-limit poker tournament. That's where I get my competitive juices and thrills from these days. But
you heard it here first.
So you're from Tulsa, right? So how does the town treat you? I mean, you welcome there? Are they everybody? I mean, you've been doing it for many years now, so you're just part of the community, and that's.
I've lived here all my life, and majority of my fights were here in the biggest arena. Easy, guys.
Aww.
Got my dogs excited.
Aww.
You can put the dog on. We can get more views with the dog over here. We'll clip it and get dog pictures and all that.
City of Tulsa has been really good to me.
Yeah.
They really have. They supported my career since my first fight in '77, and we still pack the house here at River Spirit Casino Resort where I produce my events today.
Oh, that's very cool.
And I've been very supportive of my martial arts academy. I think I have 120,000 students over the 40 years that I've been here in Tulsa teaching.
Oh, wow.
That's very cool.
So through my martial arts school, we've been able to touch a lot of kids that were in the same spot I was, where they were being bullied or they were in a bad neighborhood. And I still get a lot of enjoyment out of seeing that happen in my school.
What's it been like for you to see like the UFC come up and fighting come up and explode the way it has over the years?
It's a great question, because when I fought in Japan in front of 60,000 people, I looked and I go, I know this can be a big sport. Mm-hmm. Obviously this is a big sport here. Now, the question is, how do we get the American public to relook at combat sports with an open mind. Because at that point in America, we grew up, my generation grew up, fighting was in a ring, boxing was king, the heavyweight champion of the world was the baddest man on the planet. Nobody knew anything about jiu-jitsu and takedowns and kickboxing and all these other things, right? So America had to be convinced that these guys from these other sports and martial arts could really beat a Mike Tyson, could really compete against the heavyweight and that the heavyweight champion of the world in boxing wasn't really the baddest man on the planet. And it took Dana White to actually fall in love with the sport, see its potential, realize it can become a major sport, but it has to be a sport. It can't be illegal, banned in 48 states, hair pulling, biting, which is where UFC was at that point. That's why it was banned in 48 states. That's why it lost its pay-per-view. That's why it was $50 million in debt. But Dana had the brains and the balls and the connections. He had friends that were in the casino business that had the money that it required to buy the UFC out of bankruptcy. And that's what he did. And the first thing he did after that is he hired Mark Ratner, who was the most respected boxing administrator in the world. He was the head of the Nevada State Athletic Commission. So he oversaw all the big boxing events. Dana hired him to put together a rule set that would make UFC a real sport. And then he went out and had Mark Ratner go to every state until he got it approved in every state. And New York, of all places, was the last place to finally go okay and legalize UFC. But it was Dana's vision, Dana's connections with people who could buy that sport out of UFC. And of course, it was Dana's idea to do the Ultimate Fighter reality show, which put it on free television and allowed the world at no cost to fall in love with the fighters in the sport and realize this is a legitimate sport and not a backroom brawl.
Yeah.
Dana White gets all the credit, and he, for whatever you may agree or disagree with some of his other opinions and some of the other things he does and what he pays, if it wasn't for Dana White, nobody in martial arts would be making any money today. Yeah. The guys that are making $500,000 a fight and making $300,000 for wearing shirts and endorsing products, that's all because of Dana White. And he was the guy who solved that puzzle. And when he made UFC so big, the audience for combat sports became so huge, it was larger than boxing. And that's good for all combat sports. That was good for my promotion. I mean, my Extreme Fight Night promotions wouldn't be as big as they are if it wasn't for UFC making combat sports so big. And my promotion company, we're now in our 5th year of a partnership with the UFC. All of our events are aired live on UFC Fight Pass, their live streaming service. Yeah. And that has helped so many promotions, not only in this country, but all over the world, because now UFC is worldwide. The events on Fight Pass are from all over the world. And if you notice now, look at the top 10. In any weight class, there's guys from all over the world in those rankings now. It's a worldwide sport. It's the fastest growing sport on the planet. Yeah. That's Dana White.
So what's your relationship with Frank Mir? I see you all the time with Frank Mir. He's one of my favorite fighters. I know his daughter's fighting too. I wouldn't want to fight her either. Or even, so what do you, what's your predictions on, I guess?
I hired, Frank was in a spot where he was under contract to UFC, but he couldn't fight. He was suspended. So I had the opportunity to meet him and hire him to come as a guest at one of my events. We've had a lot of guests from Sugar Ray Leonard, John Jones, Ronda Rousey. We brought everyone to Tulsa for my fights, just to be a guest for our fans to meet him. So I did the same thing with Frank Mir, and we kind of hit it off and clicked. And I had just signed my contract with UFC to broadcast on UFC Fight Pass. And I just thought, he's going to be a legend in the UFC. He's 2-time heavyweight champion. He's very articulate. He knows how to break down the sport and explain it in a way that the average Joe gets it. and I thought he would make a great commentator. And I hired him, and we're in our 5th year together. He's kind of the face of my promotion now, and he loves what we do at Extreme Fight Night. He believes in that mix of styles that we do. We don't just do MMA; we do kickboxing and MMA on all of our cards. And I've found that MMA fans love kickboxing, and kickboxing fans love MMA. And he's been a great spokesperson for us, and he's an incredible announcer during the live broadcast. So we've hit off a great friendship. And then I had the opportunity to promote Bellamir's first fight in the United States here just a couple of months ago on our last show on UFC Fight Pass. And she's amazing. She's going to be an unbelievable superstar. She's so young. She's just 18 right now. And Frank is as great a fighter as Frank is. He's even a better family man. And growing up in Vegas and being a bouncer at the Spearmint Rhino Club and all the things that Frank has done that people may think are, I don't know, controversial. I'm telling you, he's the best dad. He's got 2 sons and a daughter. He's the best dad I know. He really invested in his family. And, he brings his wife when he comes to Tulsa to do the commentary, and the whole family came out for Bella's fight a couple months ago. He's really a family guy, and that might surprise a lot of people, but he's a lot deeper cat than people see on the surface. Yeah. And now that he's doing podcasts and he's doing a lot more stuff outside of the ring, people are getting to know that side of Frank, and you'd be very surprised at what an intelligent, common sense, down-to-earth guy he is. And he's good for the sport.
Awesome. Shout out to Frank Mir.
So then another question. So you're talking about MMA and, kickboxing, all these different forms. How do you view WWE?
I love it.
Oh, you love it? Okay.
I love it.
Okay.
I love it. To really enjoy WWE, you have to suspend reality for a little bit, just like you do when you went to see Rocky. Just like you do when you go to see Maverick with Tom Cruise. You have to suspend your belief a minute. And you have to get into what they call kayfabe. And if you suspend your reality belief for a while and get into the characters, it becomes so fun. I'm a big fan. I love pro wrestling. Yeah. And I was a big fan of the great Ric Flair, who had his retirement fight the other night at 72 years old. Yeah. I was watching it and wooing with the best of them, man. It was a blast.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
But one of the greatest things about, you talk about, it's all fake. Well, bullshit. Try doing some of those things.
I would not want a chair thrown at me. Yeah. Don't throw a chair at me.
The ultimate comeback to wrestling's fake. Can I cuss?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I won't call it Brock Xfn Lesnar.
Oh, man, that dude's wild.
Yeah.
Pro wrestler became UFC heavyweight champion. I rest my case.
There we go.
Yeah.
Wild.
That's true.
Another guy.
I actually wanted to ask you about, there's this new version of kickboxing out where it's kind of like slap boxing, but it's where you and your opponent stand across from a table and you lock hands. And you're just like, wham,
there's no kicking involved. It's a new form of kickboxing.
I saw one where they could throw kicks.
Oh, you can't.
However, I have seen that, and it's crazy. In fact, no, wait a minute. I think I've seen where they do kick, right?
Yeah, I saw one where they do kick.
Yeah, they do kick. You kick over.
So you can't unhand from each other.
You'll hold hands the whole time.
Like that.
And the whole hands.
It's called X-arm. X-arm is what crazy thing is called.
Would
I don't know if it's still going or
would
not.
That you get out, or would that get you out of retirement?
We're just trying. We're trying our hardest there.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure Frank Mir would still be good at that.
I don't think I would want to. I'm not going anywhere.
Is there any specific person that today, if someone was like, "Hey, we want you to kickbox against this person," or we
fake Paul?
Yeah, who is the person that would do it? You're like, oh man, I always hated that guy, or maybe not hated that guy, but I respected his technique.
I'm going to tell this story. It's crazy for someone to admit this, but I actually threw a fight once. Now, This wasn't a kickboxing fight. This was a traditional Japanese karate tournament.
Oh, okay.
And it's an event they have every year called the Kumite. I know you're going to start talking to me about Jean-Claude Van Damme and all that bullshit. But no, this is legit. And they have 64 black belts. And they pair them up and they fight over a period of a day down to one guy. So my math's not good enough right now to tell you how many fights you got to win to be the Kumite champion. But it's under karate rules, and you don't wear gloves. It's bare knuckle, but you can't punch to the head.
Oh, okay.
You can kick to the head, you can knee to the head, but you can't punch to the head. So all the punches are to the body. And that's the rules in the Kumite, and they fight just like kickboxing. You can knock your guy out, etc. Well, I was well into retirement at this time, but they offered me an insane amount of money to come back to Japan one more time and be in the Kumite with the 64 guys. I said, okay, I did it. I didn't train much for this because I was going for the dough, right? In a vacation, et cetera. So I go there and I realized when I get there, there's no weight classes. And I'm 160 pounds at this point, and there are guys that are 240 pounds in this competition. I'm like, hell, I hope I don't draw one of those guys, you know? So anyway, I win my first fight, win my second fight, and I'm in the middle of my third fight, and I'm fighting the hometown hero, so to speak, a fighter by the name of Atogawa. And if you've ever heard of K1 kickboxing, the guy who invented K1 kickboxing is the guy promoting this tournament. And this is his star pupil. And I've beaten him once in kickboxing, but now I'm fighting him in these karate rules, his rules. And it's a tough fight. And I am in this fight, I swear to God, I'm in a clinch with him. And I look up at the scoreboard, and they have all the matches, who fights who next, and all this down to that championship. And I look up there, and I'm in this overtime round with this guy, and I realize if I win this fight, my next fight is against Andy Hoog. Andy Hoog is from Switzerland. He's 6'4", 240 pounds, and he's the defending champion of the Kumite. And I'm thinking to myself, do I really, after this third fight, if I win this, do I really want to fight Andy? I'm going to say it, fucking Hoog. And in my mind, I'm going, no, I do not want to fight that
Did you
guy.
already have the
So
money?
in that clinch,
Was the money
I
already?
swear, you can watch the video. I kiss Otagawa on top of the head, and I never throw another punch.
Yeah.
The last 30 seconds of the fight, it's all him.
Yeah.
He wins, and he gets the shit kicked out of him by Andy effing Hoog.
Oh man.
So what'd you say? What'd you say, Lauren?
Yeah. So did you already get the money once you did the first fight, or did you have to make it to a? Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I'm going back on vacation.
Yeah.
I'm done with this.
Yeah.
Okay. That's all. Yeah. So man, that's crazy. So you got to meet Mike Tyson. How'd that all come about? You just stumble upon his locker room, or?
Basically, yeah. No, I moved to Las Vegas for a period of time to focus on my boxing. I had 24 fights as a professional boxer as well. And I did boxing only to make me a better kickboxer. And if you remember the story about using my boxing to win the fight against a Thai fighter in Japan, it was because I was not schooled yet on Muay Thai, on the knees and the elbows and the low kicks. So I had to use what I was good at. And again, boxing was my strength when I fought those guys.
We got people outside. Sorry.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I'm in Vegas training, and I was training at Johnny Taco's ringside gym, and that was the gym everybody would train at in their final 2 weeks before the big fights in Vegas. If Sugar Ray Leonard had a big fight in Vegas the last 2 weeks, he would train at Johnny Taco's gym. Well, that was my home gym. I'm training there every day anyway. Well, Tyson's in town, got a big fight. He's going to fight Frank Bruno from England for the world title. So he's training in my gym, and I get picked to be a sparring partner for Mike Tyson. And I'm not that big of a guy, right? He's a heavyweight. But in that last 2 weeks, they're not looking to do heavy sparring with great big guys. They're looking to do a little bit lighter sparring with faster guys. So that's how I got picked. So I'm going to be sparring partner for Mike Tyson. And I was a big fan of Mike Tyson. And it turns out he'd heard of me or watched one of my fights from a couple of weeks prior on ESPN. So he kind of knows who I am. Hey, Paulo, you want to spar? I don't do a very good imitation, but anyway, so I'm getting paid to spar Mike Tyson, boxing only. And when you get the big gloves on and the headgear on, and you're in that little boxing ring, and you look across the ring and you see Mike Tyson, and I'm saying, all right, where can I possibly hit this guy that's going to even phase him, right? Anyway, I did my best, and I think I served my purpose for him that week. I did 2 rounds, and I didn't get crushed.
Nice.
He wasn't trying to crush me, but I came for the 3rd day of sparring, and they decided no sparring today. So I walked back there, and I wanted to get a picture with Mike, because we've been sparring. So I asked his manager who was there, I said, hey, can I get a picture with Mike? He goes, yeah, sure. He goes back there, and Tyson was in the shower, and he pulls him out of the shower. And Tyson grabs a towel, puts it around him, and I'm standing there taking a picture with Mike Tyson, and he's got nothing on but this towel. So I tell everybody, it's not the truth, but I tell everybody that, Mike Tyson got out of the shower just to take a picture with me because he wanted a picture with Dale Apollo.
Very cool.
Well, shit, man, we can talk to you all day long, but is there anything you would like to plug or anything you'd like to shout out?
Please don't say that.
October the 14th, Extreme Fight Night is live on UFC Fight Pass worldwide, and it is a kickboxing event that's USA versus Russia.
Oh, wow.
It's going to be fun. It's going to be a crazy night of kickboxing entertainment. Frank Mir will be there on the call, and it'll be a fun night. So you got nothing else going on October 14th, tune into UFC Fight Pass. I promise you a bunch of good knockouts.
Very cool.
That's
Very
great.
cool.
I'm definitely watching that. I'm definitely watching that.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for coming on, man. And guys, thanks for, always watching and supporting us through all these fine episodes.
Crazy episodes.
And all these fine guests that we have on.
Very nice guest.
We're on Facebook. We have TikTok. Obviously we're here on YouTube. We have Spotify.
You're going to name them all?
Yeah, got to.
We got Twitch.
Might as well. Yeah. Well,
we got it all.
Soon we'll have Twitch. Well, I already have
You guys
Twitch. I have
had
Tourette's.
a lot of fun. I enjoyed this very much. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very
This
much,
is-
man. I
this
really
is-
Sorry I
appreciate
was
it.
late.
No,
No, it's
No,
fine, man.
no.
It was great. It was great having you on.
Have you met Mike Todd in Tulsa? Mike Todd.
What?
He's-
That was a
No,
random.
but
He's
he's
at-
in Tulsa. I should.
He,
You know
He's
Mike
at a
Todd.
place called Transformation Church in Tulsa, and he's
Oh,
like,
okay. Well, I've heard of Transformation
huge.
Church.
He's huge. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
shout
that
out
was-
to
that was right.
That's
That
the
was-
way to end it, Lord.
Yeah, that would be a part of it. But yeah, Tulsa is, when you said Tulsa, I was like, oh, I wonder if he knows Mike Todd. But yeah,
Shout out to Tulsa.
shout out to Tulsa.
Love you, Tulsa.
Shout out to Transformation.
Awesome.
We love you guys. Thank you.
All right, peace.
All right.